All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are tackling one of the absolute biggest skills you need for A-level psychology, and that is evaluation. We're not just talking about a simple list of strengths and weaknesses, we're talking about how to build powerful arguments that are going to get you those top A-star grades.
Does this sound a little too familiar? You've learned all the evaluation points, you've memorized them, but when you get into the exam, they don't seem to get the marks you thought they would. Trust me, you are not alone. The real secret here is shifting your mindset from just listing points to actually building an argument, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
To really nail those top marks, you've got to understand what the examiners are actually looking for. It's kind of like there's a secret code behind the exam, the AQA assessment objectives. Once you get your head around what they mean, you know exactly what you need to do to score big.
So here's the lowdown. AO1, well, that's just what you know. It's describing theories, studies, the facts. AO2 is about taking that knowledge and applying it to a new situation, like in a scenario question. But AO3 is the big one. This is all about evaluation, analysis, and, the most important part, making judgments and reaching conclusions. Honestly, this is where A-stars are made.
And if you need any more proof, just look at this. Look at the weighting. AO3 takes up the biggest slice of the pie for your final A-level grade. We're talking 36 to 38%. This tells you everything you need to know. Evaluation isn't just some little add-on at the end of an essay. It is the single most important skill that the exam is testing. Okay, so knowing AO3 is super important is one thing, but what does a really good top-level evaluation actually look like? How do we go from just making a list to actually building a proper argument? Let's take a look.
Check out this side-by-side comparison. On the left, you've got your standard C-grade point. A limitation is that the theory is culturally biased. I mean, it's not wrong, but it's just a bit flat, isn't it? Now, look at the A-star version on the right. It uses much more specific, analytical language. It doesn't just state the problem. It immediately explains the implication, that this bias restricts the theory's universal applicability. Right away, it sounds so much more impressive because it's setting the stage for a real argument.
And that's the absolute heart of it. The examiner does not want a shopping list of pros and cons. They are searching for something AQA specifically calls a sustained line of reasoning. And all that means is that every point you make has to be explained, it has to be developed, and it has to link together to form one solid, coherent argument.
Now, I know that sounds kind of complicated and maybe a bit intimidating, but I promise you, it's not. There is a really clear, repeatable structure you can use to build these awesome evaluation paragraphs every single time. So let's dissect the anatomy of an A-star evaluation.
And here it is, your new best friend, a simple four-step framework. You can think of it as PEEJ. First, you make your point, super clear. Then you back it up with some specific evidence from psychology. Next, and this is the part everyone forgets, you explain why that evidence actually matters. What's the implication? And finally, you wrap it all up with a strong concluding judgment.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's see how this thing actually works in practice. We're going to take a concept from the psychopathology topic, and we're going to apply our new A-star framework to it, step by step. So the example we'll use is the deviation from ideal mental health definition of abnormality. This one's a little bit different, right? Because instead of looking at what makes someone abnormal, it actually flips it and outlines a bunch of criteria for what perfect mental health looks like. The idea is, if you don't meet these criteria, you're considered abnormal.
Okay, let's start building our A-star paragraph. Step 1, the point. We just need a clear, focused opening sentence. So instead of something vague like it's a bad definition, we get specific. One limitation of this definition is that its criteria are culturally biased. See? Simple, direct, and it perfectly sets up the rest of our argument.
On to step 2, evidence. Right now, our point is just a claim. We need to back it up with facts. So we dive into our psych knowledge. We can say, for instance, that some of the criteria for ideal mental health include ideas like autonomy and self-actualization. Now, here's the crucial bit of evidence. These aren't universal ideas. They are ideals that are really rooted in individualistic Western cultures.
And that leads us to the most important part of the whole thing. Step 3, explain. This is the so what moment. This is where we connect our evidence back to our original point. So what if the ideals are Western?
Well, the implication is that this definition could end up unfairly labeling people from collectivist cultures, where, the good of the community is way more important than individual goals, as abnormal just because their cultural values are different.
And finally, step 4, the judgment. We bring it all home with a really firm conclusion. Therefore, the definition's validity is severely limited, making it an inappropriate tool for cross-cultural diagnosis. This final judgment links all the way back to our initial point, and it just perfectly summarizes the strength of our argument. See how that flows? We've gone from a simple point to a fully fleshed out, powerful critique.
So that's the framework in action. It's a system, right? Let's just do a super quick recap to make sure this powerful technique is locked in so you can use it on any topic that comes up in your exam.
Here you go. This is your brand new checklist for every single evaluation paragraph you write from now on. Start with a sharp point. Back it up with evidence. Explain why it matters, and finish with a clear, decisive judgment. If you follow these 4 steps, you're no longer just listing things. You are building a proper, convincing argument.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Look at this quote. We've pulled this directly from the AQA specification itself. This is literally what they are asking you for: a sustained line of reasoning which is coherent, relevant, substantiated, and logically structured. Our 4-step framework is designed to give them exactly that every time.
So there you have it, the blueprint for A-star evaluation. The only thing left to do now is to actually use it. So go on, think about what you're studying right now. Which theory, which study are you going to put to the test with this new framework first?